On today's work in progress video, the Forgeworld Achillus Dreadnought. Welcome to CanHammer, everybody, your source for 40K from the Great White North. Today we are building the Legio Custodes Achillus Dreadnought. The literally beta rules for this model were just leaked by Forgeworld and GW yesterday. So it looks like we will be getting rules for at least this variant of the Dreadnought. Hopefully we'll get it for the Galatas as well, which is one with the sword and board, as well as the Telemon, which is the big one. But we'll see. So what I'm going to do is build this baby now. I've had this sitting on my shelf for, probably since the original Talons of the Emperor came out in 7th. But we never got rules for it, so I never got around to building it. But here we go. So the box is long gone, unfortunately, but you do get some nice color instructions. And here it is. It comes in this two-sided kind of plastic box. This is the Guardian Spear, or the whatever it's called. I can't remember what it's called, but basically the Dreadnought version of the spear, which looks like it has like a las cannon on it. Very cool. And then this part, so it's a big base. This looks like a leg part with lots of nice gilding on it. Shoulders, kind of body, some more legs, lots of little joins and stuff, little leg joint, lots of little parts. This thing is going to be extremely posable. Here's the main body there, probably goes like that, the back, crotch, the vents at the back, lots of feet. There's at least 4 feet for some reason, so extra feet, I guess, and guns, and lots of little tiny bits that have come off, so be careful I don't lose any of these. Okay, so we're going to wash up these parts and then start assembling this. Alright, build's going along pretty well. Built the torso here with the head facing this way. The pose I'm going to use with the left arm coming out and the right arm behind, holding the, kind of like this, but with them stepping forward. So I got that right arm fist out there with the lastrum bolters. I'll just need to hair dry that and it should be okay, but that will clip on nicely to that arm so that that comes off for storage. Legs are built here, so stepping forward like this. Maybe I have to correct that a little bit. That foot is not quite perfect, but I think it'll do. Yeah, there we go. So he's kind of stepping forward like that, and then they'll be twisted on the torso like that. There's a torso piece, which is here. This is kind of the waist piece, which goes on top like that, and then the chest goes on top of that. So there's a big magnet on the top of here, and there's a magnet in there so that the bottom and top pieces come apart for easier transport. Just want to point out that you get 4 feet with it, 2 that are flat feet and 2 that are stepping feet, so it's very posable. Every single joint, so here's a piece, there's a piece, there's a piece, and there's a piece, all posable with ball and socket joints. The groin obviously is completely posable. Every piece of the arm, so there's the shoulder, then there's the arm, then there's this piece on top, then there's the pointy piece, then there's the plastron, then there's the hand. All posable. There's 4 different hand positions, loose fist for holding the shaft, closed fist, and then there's also kind of bent fingers like that for like pointing. Here's the other one that came off. So lots of different posing options for this. And then of course, instead of the bolters, you could have flamers or this whatever that is. I think it's just a 30k weapon. It doesn't exist in 40k. So so many different options here for this kit. It's a beautiful kit. Ultimate, supremely posable, beautiful. The only thing I have to say is that this shoulder pad had a gate here, and when you cut off the gate, it snaps this very thin piece of resin, which is a shame. But I think what we can do is turn this into a little bit of battle damage that's been scarred a little bit there. But yeah, same thing happened on both sides. There's kind of no other way of taking that gate off other than trying to snip it, and it just snaps off that piece of resin there, which is too bad. Yeah, and that's about it. So we're going to carry on and finish off this thing, and then we'll start painting it. Alright, the Dreadnought is fully assembled and looks pretty awesome. This is probably my favorite Dreadnought model in the whole GW Forgeworld range. So detailed. Look at the gilding on all the armor. So awesome. Very awesome. Even that fist comes in two parts. So awesome. There's a bit of a gap there because I put the magnets in there, but you don't really notice it overall, and it does make the Dreadnought a little bit taller, but looks pretty good. So that is awesome. So I'm going to go on and paint this. First I'm going to get some heat on that lance just to straighten it up. I'm going to get on and start painting it at some point once I finish these bikes. Alright, work begins on the Dreadnought. It's been it's been sprayed with Retributor Gold as standard, and I just finished washing it with Reikland Flesh Shade all over. A light layer of Reikland Flesh Shade, and then what I might do is just go over some of the more finer detail areas like that with a second wash. What I tend to like to do, whereas the flatter plate areas like the shoulder there, I don't like to get it too washed. So just a light wash on those flat areas. Legs especially, I want to get shading into these sort of gilded areas, but not too much onto the sort of flat plate areas. So most of that is kind of running down, so that's pretty good. And of course this is mostly black and silver, just a hand there, so that's the only thing I've washed on that weapon arm. So this is coming along nicely, and I'm just doing it in between the bikes when I need a break from painting bikes, so it'll get done. Alright, progress on the Achillus Dreadnought. So for the Dread Host scheme, painted the leg plates black. Took 3 coats of black to get over the gold without obscuring the gilding, of course. And similarly, a lot of the handle of the Dread Spear is black, so there we go. Another 3 coats, and 3 coats on each shoulder pad here, just to get it solid and smooth like you see there, which is quite nice. And of course this shoulder pad is mostly full of gilding, which I try to preserve without necessarily just painting it all black. So took a bit of time, but he's gonna look pretty good there when he's done. Alright, progress on the legs of the Dreadnought. First of all the plate pieces I went over with Liberator Gold, covering up the previous layers, except for just leaving in the recesses a little bit of gold and shading from below so that the gilding stands out, and then went over all the gilding as carefully as possible all over. And then took me about an hour and a half to do all this, the rivets, the gilding, and these symbols on the front of the leg plates here, as carefully as possible. Had to do some black touch-ups as well, but that is looking pretty sweet right now. So the legs are almost done. Just got to pick out these cables here at the waist and also the back of the leg joints there, and then I'm going to highlight it up and then the legs will be done. Alright, highlighting has been done. So you can see it's just Stormwell silver there, subtle on the edges of the feet and on that center line there. All the gilding is subtly highlighted with Stormwell silver, edge highlighting all the way around basically. There we go, got to pick out that gem in a second. And then here, just kind of Stormwell silver a little bit to the more rounded parts of the gilding. And then just to the edges of the wings here. I don't know if you can really see, but it just brings out the gold and shines it up, just like on the Custodes that I've been doing. So I think that looks good. Those legs are basically done. Oh yeah, and then a quite fine edging of silver on the black, just to make it look kind of black metallic as opposed to just flat black. So I like that. In fact, I might start painting all my bolters black instead of silver, because I think that looks really nice and more gritty. Either that or doing more washes of no, to really darken down the silver. So there we go. That looks pretty good. Yeah, and if you edge it with with Dark Reaper or something like that, it doesn't look that metallic. So edging it with the metal really helps with that. And it gives it a shine. There you go. So the feet are done. Just going to paint these two cables up here and put that gem in, and the feet will be done. We'll move on to the upper body. Alright, the weapon is based and washed, so it was mostly black. Some Doombo brown here in the handle, the grip, and up there. This hand was gold. Put some Liberator gold in that. Silver here with some Null oil. Some more Reckless Flesh Shade in the gold here, and in these recesses of the weapon. The blade is obviously going to be painted like a power blade. And just black and silver alternating here. So nice little detail on this weapon there. And I'm going to let that dry off and carry on with that. In the meantime, we'll do some work on the top part now. We're beginning on the upper part here, just picking out the gilding on this shoulder pad. I like how solid the black is. Took 3 or 4 coats to do that. And just started picking out the gilding on this shoulder, as well as the laurel and the scroll and Xandri dust. So that's looking pretty good. So I'm going to finish off these shoulders and then start working on the rest. I'm still waiting for the wash to dry here on the spear before I do any more of that one. Alright, some progress on the Achillus. Just highlighted up the spear here, all parts to gold, the silver bits, this sort of middle bit of the blade, and then putting a very fine edge highlight of silver again on the black, and putting some squig orange on the Doombo brown there. So you can see here, it's sort of fine edge highlight of silver on the black and on the gilding. So that looks pretty good. And then I've been working on the old on the body here, so painted the top silver with some Null oil on it. These grills just got some Null oil there. Working on this shoulder pad here that's now highlighted. The gold is highlighted. You see the blue soulstone, it's Xandri dust, and a layer of Agrax on that scroll work still to be highlighted. Edge highlighting the black again with the silver, and then red lastrum bolters with the silver bits now just washed with Null oil, and that's looking pretty good. Picking out some other silver details. So in these grills here. So that top is looking pretty good. Just set it down there to dry from the washing, and then we'll go on to do probably most of the gold and finish off all the highlights, and then this guy will be done. Alright, the Achillus Dreadnought, the body is done. You already seen the legs. Here's the upper body. Took a lot of time doing that front aquila, being very careful to leave the shading in the tops and edges of the feathers, and to pick it out with the Liberator and then the Stormwell silver. Looks better in person, but I hope it shows up okay on camera. Picking out all the gilding and all the little spots. Got my little blue eye in there, soulstone on the forehead. Painted the lastrum bolters red with the highlights there. My scroll and the engine ports there, and highlighting those up. The little aquila on the top. Yeah, pretty cool. All the edge highlights here with the silver. Went over all the gold with Liberator Gold, and edge highlighting with the Stormhole Silver. So looks really awesome. There it is. So he is basically done. All I gotta do now, I already highlighted this as you know, is do the blade. So according to Duncan, the first layer is Cantor Blue, so that's what we're gonna do. Alright, Cantor Blue is dry, and now this layer of layer of Sotek Green, which is really a blue color anyway. Sotek Green on the blade there. I left the inner areas darker Cantor Blue. Tried to do some blending at the top there. So here we go. That's step number 2. Now the next step is Temple Guard Blue. Step number 2, a wider line highlight of Temple Guard Blue. Step number 3, a wash of Drakenhof Nightshade over the blade, just to blend those two layers together a little bit more. There we go. Step 4, a thinner highlight of Temple Guard Blue on the edge of the blade, like so. I don't like how the Drakenhof worked out actually. Maybe I did shake it a lot, but it's a bit gritty. It is bite old. I don't use that one very often, but kind of, yeah, I didn't like the result of that wash there. It didn't seem very smooth, but anyway, we'll carry on. Next step, step 5. Step 5, white scar highlight just on the curve there and on the end point. There you go. Okay, step 6 was to draw little lines in Temple Guard Blue, like jagged lightning pattern, and step 7 was to put some of those lines highlight with white scar. So I've done 6 and 7 together. I don't think it looks very power axy. I don't think my pattern looks very jaggedy or lightning like, so not super happy with it, but it's the first time I've ever done that, so I guess it looks okay, and maybe it looks better from slightly far away as opposed to like looking really close up at it. Anyway, so that means this is done, and that means my Dreadnought is done, except for the base, which will be much later. So here we go. Boom. Brother Achilles. The Achilles Dreadnought. Here it is. Looks pretty good when it's all together. Boom. Well, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed that work in progress video. If you like what you see, please click on the like button below. If you want to subscribe to our channel, please click on the CanHammer symbol down there. And if you really like to support what we do here at CanHammer, please consider supporting us on patreon.com by clicking the link up there. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.